Welcome to the Communication Diva podcast, episode 66. In this episode of the podcast, Jen interviews singer, songwriter, composer, and pianist Gina Williams. Here's Jen and Gina.
Hi, and welcome to Communication Diva. This is the podcast that talks about communication in many different ways. Sometimes we talk technical things, skills that you can develop, and sometimes I like to interview interesting people just to find out how they communicate and what ways they use and what thoughts they have about the subject of communication. And so today, that is what I'm doing. I'm interviewing Gina Williams, and I've been trying to, wanting to do this for a long time and haven't gotten together with her until today. So I'm really glad to be able to bring you this very talented young woman. She is an award-winning singer, songwriter, composer, and concert pianist. And she has performed all over the place, Canada and the U.S. and overseas, and she's performed in many different formats. As far as she plays piano beautifully, she sings all different kinds of music, and she's been also on television and on the radio. And I believe one of her pieces is the title song for a film. One of her songs, You Are Not Alone, is the theme song for a Russian film called Love is the Best Medicine, in which she sang and also appeared as an actor in the film. And so Gina has her finger in many pies, and she does an awful lot of things, but I am just delighted to be able to bring her to you today. And before I do that, I just want to let you know that on the show notes at communicationdiva.com will be links to her own website where you can watch some videos of her, where you can hear clips of her albums that she's got out and find out a lot more about Gina Williams. So I do encourage you to come over and take a listen and just take a look at the person that we are talking to today, because she really is an interesting person, and there's more to her than just her singing and her piano playing, for sure. All right, and before I do that, I just wanted to say thank you again for taking the time out of your day to listen to Communication Diva. I really appreciate all of the people that are listening around the world, and I love to hear from you. So if you enjoy what you hear here, please do come and say hello on Facebook or Twitter, or send me an email, and I'd love to hear from you. That's great. And now, without any more talking from me, let's talk to Gina. So, welcome, Gina Williams, to the Communication Diva.
It's a pleasure. I'm honored.
It's been great. We've been talking about doing this for quite some time.
That's actually true. That's not a lie.
And so I'm glad we finally made it, and it's a beautiful sunny afternoon. When it wasn't this morning, but it's beautiful sunny afternoon, and this is the month of May. And I have to orientate myself whenever I do this, because I realize that people are listening to this after the fact, and sometimes many months after the fact. So there you go.
Wow, thanks again for having me on this show. I just want to call you Diva.
No. I think you're the diva in this conversation here. I was reading something recently that said that you were a child prodigy, and I wonder if you can explain that a little bit.
Wow. Basically, all it is just a child who seems to process information at a very fast rate. And I didn't know what it was. I mean, I used to call it Prodigy for the longest time, or Prodigy, or what. Yeah, I used to mess it up. That's how young I was. But, no, it's honestly, I didn't like being a child prodigy. I wanted to be normal. I wanted to fit in with the other kids. And I didn't fit in with a lot of kids, and it was a problem. It bothered me. But, I thought, what, do you grow up to be a genius? Do you grow up to be a freak? Or, I always worried about the future. But, the future came. I'm still here and breathing, and I'm not, well, at least I don't think I'm a freak. Other people say I'm, but that's okay.
But so what was it that you were amazing at as a child?
As a child, I wanted to play the piano. That was the first thing that I wanted to play. I was already singing. I don't know if I was considered a prodigy as a singer. Probably, but I don't know about it. The piano was obvious, so it was, I'd say, mostly that. It went from literally overnight that I was this prodigy somehow.
So how did that play out? Like, when did you start playing the piano? How old were you?
I started piano lessons when I was about 6, I'd say. I started, but we started over when I was 8 because I didn't have very many lessons at the time. I'd say 8, turning 9, I had about a year-ish. Then we moved to Oshawa from Alberta, and then it was in Oshawa where I was given this piece to play. It was a Bach piano concerto. My teacher at the time was Jem Fitch. She's still alive. She's amazing. I love her. And so she gave me this piece to play, and then she kind of gave me this funny look she gave me a week to look at it. I think it was a week. And she didn't say anything. And I thought, okay, either that was really good or was really bad. I wasn't sure which way it was going to go now. Next thing I've heard words like prodigy. I thought, what is that? What is that? Some sort of freak of nature? I use the word freak a lot. So anyway, but so that's how that happened. I used to practice on the windowsill. We didn't have a piano until I was 11 and a half, 12. So a lot of stuff was internalized. I hear complete works and scores in my mind. I thank God for that gift. It comes in its key, its arrangements. I've talked about this before in other interviews, and it still comes that way. I don't pre-plan. I can't pre-plan what I get. So one moment will be like almost country, next minute it's pop, next minute it's jazz, next minute it's orchestral. It's always different, and I have absolutely no control again on what genre, form, key, orchestration or lack thereof it's going to take. It humbles me. It really humbles me, the gift.
So you started when you were 6 and you got a piano when you were 12, and then what happened from there?
I thought, well, maybe I'd be the first black female concert pianist. There are other black female concert pianists. I just need to make it clear there hasn't really been a black female classical concert pianist in the last how many hundreds of years of classical music. No, we've had a few black men. I know one, but there could be more. But in terms of the world stage, like a recognizable name, it's never happened with a black female. So I thought, hey, maybe I could pioneer the uncharted territory. But as time went by, well, I don't know how much our listeners can handle the truth about certain situations, even though it's 2013. But some of the experiences I went through, it's just it's age old, you know what. So reading between the lines, I got upset, I got angry, and I said, no more of this European stuff, and I wrote everything but classical music. I didn't want to have anything to do with classical music after that. It wasn't until I did the Dare this year. It's the first time I came back out as a classical pianist specifically, along with the other, along with being a singer. It was all genres in one night, so there was, everything.
So I want to come back to the Dare in a minute, but you studied music as well formally at university.
I have a master's degree in piano performance from the University of Alberta. So I am certified to be a concert pianist. That's pretty much all it is. A paper to say, yes, I can grace a stage somewhere and not get terribly booed. I would say that's what it means. But otherwise, you have to keep it up. You have to play. I still play, but I'm a singer as much as I am as a pianist, so as I am a pianist. So it's I find both of them quite easy to go into and out of. It's like different characters, right? Character study or something. So So yeah, it started off with piano in a sense, but the singing was always there, and that just kind of caught up, and they're both their own tour de force, I would say, in their own right. As a singer, I know we're not talking about it as much, but the singer, I'm able to morph from being an opera singer to being a rock singer to a pop singer easily, and that took some time too as well. So it's each discipline involves a different way you use your voice, but at the same time you have to use it in a way so you're not hurting yourself, right? Particularly when you sing rock. So yeah, I love it. I love physics, I love science, I love art. They're all intertwined, and they really are. The physics of sound, whether you're playing or you're singing, particularly when you're singing, because your health, your mood, your mental state affects your voice from nanosecond to nanosecond. It really does. And it's so intimate. Every voice is specific to that individual body. That your timbre is uniquely yours, and you don't have that with a piano. So I love it. I love the sound. I love coaching from time to time and singing. Just hopefully sharing and blessing people where I can. Yeah.
So as a form of communication, and getting a message across to people, do you prefer the piano or do you prefer the singing, or is there? You prefer to sing.
Yeah. I mean, I like to sing and play, but between the two, even to this day, I'd rather sing. It's just, yeah. It's not that I can't play. It's, probably relatively well, thank God. But I mean, I'd rather just sing it. I mean, it when you play something, partly I think because I'm a writer and a composer, and I distinguish the two, I guess partly because of the training. As a writer and a composer, I'm able to express to people how I feel or how they're feeling through the writing, through the songs that are born. But when you're playing something that someone else already wrote, I can't really, not that I can convey a message, but a message is a lot more concrete when you wrote it yourself. You can explain, where you were at when this song was born. When I say born, for me, as I said, I get music. I don't sit and look for a melody and look for a rhythm. It doesn't work that way. So I can only say I was here at such and such a place. I felt like this and this. For example, I got a song literally last night around 8:45, like right at that moment. It's a dance piece, but it is just like, wow. I wrote the lyrics out on a bank stub. It's just like my purse is. Some of my friends have seen it. It's full of. I just emptied the purse a while ago because it was full of Post-its and envelopes of lyrics, just like, I don't know, at least 40, 50 different, like, for full songs, like 5 albums worth of music sitting in my purse, and dump it out and get another set, so it's definitely humbling. It's cool, but yeah, I don't have to work as hard at it as I guess a lot of people do, but at the same time, there's songs I like, there's songs I don't like, and the ones I don't like, others sometimes like, and vice versa. So I try not to be biased in terms of what the hearers get to hear, because I can't be so full of it to say, you only get to hear the ones I like.
But is there a particular genre that you like better?
Yes, dance, pop music. Okay. I am a pop junkie through and through. I am sorry if you're a classical listener hearing that, but I still write orchestral music from time to time. I'm definitely a pop junkie. But it's all genres. All genres are born, are given to me. So that's neat. Some people wonder, well, how about the rock? Like, why or whatever? Are you angry? It's not that you're angry, but everyone has a different life experience. And some of us have hurt. Some people, it comes out in the way they sing blues. For some people, it's just like you just want to go, get that out, and I'm grateful for the fact that we have that outlet, that you can get it out of your system. Let me put it this way. This is not very profound, but I'm going to say it anyway. You cannot commit suicide while you're playing music. You cannot commit suicide while you're rocking out. It's just not going to happen. It might happen after, but not while you're in the creative process of actually doing something. So that in itself is helpful.
There you go.
Yeah. So.
What about the universality of music?
Oh, music is, it's a language. Music is, I believe, our first mother tongue. That's what I believe. Every human being on the planet is swayed one way or another to just sound of music. And I mean, I hear a song in Russian and I am moved to tears, and I don't know what she's saying, but I'm moved to tears because I understand the emotion behind it. I mean, not everyone is as emotional as you or I are, but there are people who still feel music, just not necessarily at an incredible depth, but you still feel it. You still have a favorite song. I've met people who are like, oh, I don't like music. I like books. I need to read books. Okay, that's fine. But songs, even if you're not into music, you still associate certain songs with certain memories, good ones and bad ones. So music transcends language, and it communicates a depth where words cannot do for you at times.
And I think the movie industry and the television, they know that very well because they put soundtracks under everything to evoke an emotion.
It drives me crazy because I can't watch most movies in the sense that if it's comedy, I'm good. But if it's one of those suspense thriller movies, I'm one of those people, and my family, they think it's nuts, but I'll be like, kind of like hiding under a pillow or covering my face because the music's already told me something's wrong. Yeah. And the thing is with music, it tells you kind of ahead of time something's up.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you got pathetic fallacy too, where it starts to rain a whole bit. Okay, fine, but music just on its own, if it's even before it gets really creepy, I'm already creeped out. So by the time it happens, I'm screaming and I don't see anything. It's really, really embarrassing. So I don't go anywhere much with most people because I'm unfortunately, I feel everything before it happens.
But it does that though, and I think they do that on purpose, of course.
Yeah, they do. Good job.
and it does. But if you watch the same thing without that music, what would it be like?
I'd be normal. I'd be so happy. I finally reached the stage of normalcy. Because, man, I won't lie to you, Jen, that took a long, long time to reach. I think I've reached a state of normalcy. Even that probably still debatable. But I don't know. Growing up was rough. Not at home. It was just a whole social fitting in and I didn't care. I just didn't really care. But I didn't fit in. I perfected probably every, swinging game. I played hopscotch with my shadow. It's just, there was a time where I had very, very few friends. But just glad those days are over. And wouldn't wish many things I experienced on my worst enemy. I wouldn't. But, you forgive and you move forward. And that's what my music communicates, I would say. If I can call it mine. That's what the music communicates. A sense of forgiveness, love, generosity. Sometimes, a little bit of rage or anger, but nothing harmful. Wholesome without being cheesy, that kind of thing. I would say that's what my music... Let's put it this way. A parent can be just fine with their kids listening to my music, and they know they'll be fine because of my content. But I deal with very adult issues. Kids go through adult issues. It's just... That's part of the unfortunate reality of life. But the fortunate side of it is when you get through it, when you get to the other side, you're able to share the gifts with someone else who also struggles. Unfortunately, that's part of what we know as life. And God willing, one day we will not have to know struggle anymore. Hey, I'm game.
Well, and a lot of kids find solace in music. I mean, there are so many kids that turn to that as company and comfort.
I did. The piano, getting back to the piano, was my best friend. So while a lot of kids were outside playing and doing whatnot with their friends, I played the piano for hours and hours and hours at a time. People had to beg me to stop playing.
Wow.
My family had to beg me to stop. That's how much I played the piano. It was my best friend. You know, some people like to talk. Well, I mean, I like to talk too. But playing the piano, I don't think I can talk as much as I played the piano in my youth. Yeah, it's a lot of piano playing. So I mean, so now some people laugh. They say I levitate when I play. I mean, it's just innate. I don't think about it. But.
Well, I've watched you play, and I've sat on that side. You know, I've watched you. I first met you about, I don't know, longer than that, but several years ago, anyways. And I used to sit on that particular side of the church when you played to watch you, because it's fascinating. You embody the piece, and people are getting such joy out of just watching you. Never mind just hearing you play, but watching you play too.
Yeah, I've heard this. It's like, I know I work for churches sometimes, and I love it. I mean, with that music, even if I don't know it, I can usually look at something and hear it in my head. So it's easy to internalize it and then reshape it on the spot. It's almost like acting improv, if you will. You know, given a topic and you run with it. The only difference is, with music, all the notes are there. You just improv based on the information given, and communicate that language. And on a language note too, I speak other languages. French is my second language.
Yeah.
I'm just studying Mandarin right now because I find it fun. It's my hobby. So that's my downtime. And speak a little bit of Russian, Ukrainian, and other languages as well. Just anybody that feeds me, I'm pretty much theirs, and will speak the language. It's just kind of how it works.
And you're going to Russia. Tell me about that.
I might end up in Ukraine at some point. I'm hoping this summer. If it's not this summer, it'll be next summer. But yeah, it's supposed to be in the works. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm singing at a Russian festival next month here in Vancouver. But I love it. I'm singing Czervona Ruta, which is actually Ukrainian. But it's from what I understand, it's understood. So it's the Russians and Ukrainians both understand what Czervona Ruta is all about. So I'm glad for that, because I don't want to have to do any translations. Nothing too heavy anyway. I know what I'm saying, but it's just, it's not my first language or my second or even my third. So yeah, but I love it. I love the sound of just languages and watching people communicate with, pravda. Oh, нет. It sounds so. Just all of them. I don't care whether it's Ambele or to whatever. It's just. Love it. Yeah. Just love communicating with people. And so, I don't know, but one day, yes, hopefully you'll be able to catch you at one of the shows so you can see the other side of from piano to singing to composing to dancing. There's a lot more than what you see in the church.
I did see one of your shows that you did at the church.
Really?
Way back when. You did one, it was an evening that you did.
Incognito? Was it a rock show?
Yes.
Okay, well, the Dare was different from the rock show.
So tell us about the Dare.
The Dare was held at the Bell Center.
What does Dare mean?
Oh, it was just, when you dare the public to attend an evening where their musical sensibilities are stretched, so to speak. You're taking in all genres in one evening. You got to be pretty open-minded, I must say. And my hat goes off to everybody who came. I got a lot of really positive feedback, so I'm grateful for that too. So yeah, there was everything from my piano concerto I debuted to my dance numbers to stuff that people know from the album In Spite of the Storm. It's just a mixture of different things, but it was done in a way that it told part of my life story, so it wasn't just random music thrown out there. So it wasn't just raw. Some of the stuff from incognito from that particular concert was part of the Dare, but it's just a smaller snippet because it wasn't all rock.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed what I did see at the one I went to, and I couldn't make it to the Dare. But when is something else going to be happening that you'll be putting on locally?
Oh, man, I don't know. The Dare took not just myself, but a loving committee. It was 9 months of planning. So, I mean, we all wore different hats. I had the hat of, artist, composer, producer, director, finance officer. So, I mean, yeah, that was fun. But, Darlene was in charge of scores. Phil was in charge of the print and advertising. Danny was in charge of just like the stage, the lights and where everything needed to be and when. We did actually have a stage manager that night, Matt, who's stage manager, Matt Candelon, and everybody just did a fantastic job. So to answer your question, to do that again, I don't know. Maybe in the next year, maybe 2014, do something similar. Not necessarily all genres in one night, but it would still be a mix for sure. Maybe some gospel and classical. It's hard to say. I have usually 4 or 5 different concepts running in my mind. I can only afford to do so many. Yes, I do fund these myself. We did have a few sponsors, thank God. It always helps. But of course, when you're running thousands and thousands of dollars just trying to make sure everybody is treated respectfully for what they're trained to do brilliantly, then yeah, it's up there for sure. So I was working full-time and doing this as well. But that's gone now. So yeah, it is music full-time, and just thank God for the opportunity where I can really do that.
So you're living the dream in a way.
Living the dream. I'm the incognito star, so to speak. Like, no, in the sense that, yeah, it's everything I literally do for any form of payment is just the arts. There is nothing else right now. And yes, so my sister said it too. She was like, yeah, most people can't really say they can live from just music. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, it's diversified. I mean, I help at the Port Moody Arts Center, so I do the vocal thing there with them, and I adore my students. I love them.
So you teach, you coach and teach?
I coach, yeah, and so I do some of that. Not a lot, because I'm a performer first, and then of course my privates and students, and then I work at the Go Ballet. I'm one of their pianists, and really enjoy playing with them as well. It's just, the dancers there are just beautiful, and I compose classical music on the spot. That's what I've been doing, and that's been working for me. So maybe I'll publish something there, a classical book of pliés and tendus and frappés. I want to say frappuccino, one day, Yeah. No, they know what I mean, and it's pretty cool, cool. And the rest of the time, I just prep to perform. Almost once a month, I do. I have some concert or show or event that I have to perform at.
You're doing a wedding, you said?
This weekend, yes. My friends are getting married, and so I'm doing their wedding, the wedding ceremony, playing the piano for them. And in the afternoon, they were at the Dare, so they're requesting that I do a number of songs at the reception. So I'm singing everything from ABBA to Tina Turner to Earth, Wind and Fire to it's pretty Michael Jackson, Donna Summer. I'm just not not singing Russian there, at least not planning on it. Otherwise, I think I have it covered.
There you go. Where do you see yourself in the next 4 or 5 years?
Oh, God willing, touring all over the world, being able to get to some of the places that I have fans on my fan site. A lot of fans, and love to get to some of their countries. It'd be really, really cool to see some of these people face to face, and visit old friends as well. And touring, performing, being able to speak to people, not just youth, but just people about their dreams and help people get on their feet in terms of where they need to be. A lot of people are stuck in jobs, and they're sometimes high-paying jobs. You have great houses, and you look great. I mean, you got it made, but you are so sad. It's soul-sucking because you're not happy. You're doing it just to keep up. And you look around, you're 60, 70, 80, and you feel old just because you're like, my life is wasting away. So I like to help people find their true calling in life and get back to that, no matter what type of income bracket that means you are in. Because when you do something you love, the income eventually catches up with you in a good way, it really does. And you might have hiccups up and down here and there, but it's better than dealing with the stresses of an environment that you're not happy in just because it yields you $250,000 a year and you can live in Kerrisdale or whatever, Yeah. Like my heart goes out to people. There are a lot of people with a lot of money who are incredibly unhappy, and more so because we're conditioned to believe that once you have the money, you should be happy. And it's almost damning in the sense that, my God, I have the money and I am miserable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. And when my oldest two came and said they wanted to go into the arts, into musical theater, I had a lot of other parents giving the raised eyebrow kind of thing. Of course. And I thought, you know what? Live your passion, live your dream, because at least if you don't try, you're always going to wonder,
And you know what? In fairness to people, I did it. I've been on the side of it where I was scraping to make ends meet. Sometimes it was so rough in Edmonton. It was just rough. It was hard. You look like you're making ridiculous money because you're on TV here and there. People think, perception is everything in this business, but at times you're not making a lot of money. You sell a lot of units, and the label gets this and that, and you get what? It's not an easy business. But at this stage of the game, it's a lot better for me. It's a lot more stable if you can have stability in the music biz. And if you believe in God, go with God. Run with God. Try to catch up because you can't. You know what I mean? It's worth it. He's my manager. He's my business partner. He's my agent. I return 10% to him. And most agent managers take 15 to 20, and he asks for 10. So I give him 10 in tips. That's kind of how it works. And hopefully that won't offend anyone. But I don't have a human one, so I might as well use him, and he's doing a good job. Work stuff out. So I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. There are times where you're tempted, you're like, why can't I have that? Why can't I have this award or that award? But you know what? Everything, if it's to come, it will come in its own time during the season. But the other thing is that I believe everyone is a star. Every human being is a star. Some stars shine brighter than other stars, but it does not make the other not a star. You're a star just because you are. And it's your work ethic, that's something you have to deal with. That takes time and energy and just inner resilience to decide, am I going to pursue this for the rest of my life? Are you in love with your craft? There's a difference between being in love with what you do and being in love with yourself. If you're in love with yourself, you will give up. Yeah. You will let go. Therefore, you are not called to art. When you're called to art, whether you win a Juno or a Grammy or whatever or not, whether you do or don't, you will still always do it because you're called to it. You love it. You're in love with the joy it gives you and others, but you're not in love with yourself. The moment you're in love with yourself, you've lost it. You've lost the true meaning of what it means to be a called artist. And you must start from scratch if you're going to be that. You have to. And it's important you do, because so many of us along the way sometimes get sidetracked by the glitz. Mm-hmm. And glitz looks great. We all like a little bit of it, but you don't live by it.
So how do you prevent that? Because, you've been on TV, you've been in movies, you've got an album out. One album, you got another one coming? Two albums out?
I have a classical piano album and a vocal album, and I am working on a pop album to come out at some point in time in the near future. We always say the near future. How do you not get into that?
How do you stay grounded?
Well, I have spiritual ways in which I keep grounded. I spend time in pillow talk with you-know-who every morning, and that does help. So I'm able to either catch myself or he catches me, or however you want to put it. When I start thinking like that sometimes. The other way to get away from that is to be able to look at someone else's achievements and say, good for you, and be happy for them, knowing that what they have is uniquely theirs and what you have is uniquely yours. The more you own the fact that you are your own entity in what you have, not to say you can't get better at what you have, it's just that what is yours is truly special and unique to you. Then there's no need of being envious of someone else. Like for me, I see these, people, I'm happy for them, but I know they won't play or sing or compose and dance and produce a show and the way I can. I can do that. Most artists can't claim that. They need someone to do it. I didn't. So, does that make me better? No. Does that make me worse? No. It just means I can't.
Yeah.
That's all it really meant, know? At the end of the day, if they need my help, they can have my help, right? Whatever. But, it's just, the more you realize that, the less you cut down on the envy factor. The more you cut it down without putting them down, the more you can be mentally healthy in general.
And that goes against the North American cultural norm, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I must say, in fairness to most listeners who are probably in the arts, I have gone through that process of trying to make it. When you try to make it, to try to prove, to people that you're not a freak and that you are special and you have something to share. And it's really hard when the years go by and you're not making it. And you reach a stage where you almost freak out because it's like, my God, I didn't make it. I have all this talent. Like, what happened? Like, how come I didn't make it? I'm supposed to. This whole entitlement. You've got to get rid of that. Pursue your dreams, but don't believe in entitlements. If something comes, let it be a byproduct of your love. Because the moment you start thinking you're entitled to stuff,
it's dangerous.
It's so dangerous. And then when you don't, if you do, you do. And the trap of is when you do, you feel you did something right. The truth is you didn't do anything right. You met the right people. Or better yet, you came in contact with people who wanted to help or could help in that way. I have met a myriad of individuals who've really wanted to help, genuinely. They didn't have the money. That's okay. Was I truly ready or not? I don't know. I don't even care. All I do know is that it didn't happen that way for me. And it's like, what do you do? Do you kill yourself? Do you quit music? And I just thought, no, this is what I am. So as time went by, I went from, as a girlfriend of mine put it, she's a genius as far as I'm concerned. Her name is Danny. She lives in the States. She lives in Alabama at the moment. But she said to me, I went really from being another singer, pursuing a record deal, to becoming an entity. Gina Williams as an entity. Because I kept doing it and it just got better at everything else. And now I have so many to offer the label or the world or whatever, because I really can do all of that. In 10 years, probably more.
Yeah, you are a bit of a tour de force here going on, and you're still young. You've got a lot of time ahead of you.
Stop. That's because I'm a nerd. I spent all my time working, still working. All the good sunny days sitting with a Chinese book.
Studying her Mandarin.
And writing it too. I write
my goodness.
Hanzi.
Putting us all to shame here.
No, not at all, not at all.
So if people want to connect with you, Gina, where are they going to find you?
The best way to connect with me, I would say, is through the website, GinaWilliams.com. They can get through to me at GinaWilliams.com. Or even on the Facebook page. You can get that through the website. There's a very striking redhead on there who's not white. That would be me. So it's
You had red hair?
I had red curly hair, at least at that time. And short wavy curly hair. And so on the Facebook, I do get back to people. People send messages. I do get back to people. And sometimes it might take me a while depending on how many messages. But
Yeah, you're getting increasingly popular, so it's harder, isn't it?
It does get harder, but I do get back to people personally as much as I can. I'm not at the stage where I get other people to do stuff for me. Well, to a point, yes, but it's, everybody needs to know that they're special, that they matter. And then getting back to that, how I really got out of that cycle is that I would say I was redeemed in the sense that once I was affirmed that I already mattered, music or no music, fame or no fame, that I was special, then all that stopped. For me, it was the day God showed me that I was beautiful, that I was special, and that God's opinion whatever anybody else said didn't matter anymore. Because if God says so, then it is so. If he says you're special, then you're special. Who am I to say otherwise? And that's part of what people are trying to fight against. Appearances. What does this person think about me? What do they think about me? But when you realize that only one person's opinion counts, if you believe that, if you don't, then you have to find other ways. I don't know those ways because I only know what saved me, and it has stayed with me. It's had staying power. I've never been depressed and angry and hurt the way I was for decades. A lot of pain, a lot of depression, and I'm totally healed from that, and I just try to pass that on to as many people. If communicating hope, communicating life, communicating, yes, you matter. And just because you do does not mean someone else doesn't. Just because you are a genius doesn't mean someone else is stupid. That's important too. Everybody has that touch of genius that really needs to be respected and owned. And if I don't see it, I will pull it out of you. Even if it's not music, just who you are. It's there.
So that sounds like it's a real passion for you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, the core behind the music would be letting people realize and see the brilliant being they already are. That is, I think, probably what most people get when they meet me. They sense that, and I don't want to say moth to light, but it's just
that's a good analogy.
It can kind of sometimes. I mean, I can only do so many individuals at a time. Yeah. But I mean, it's.
Well, see, but the medium that you have, the music that you have, will reach many.
That's true. That is true, and I'm hoping, I pray that people do sense the passion I have for them in the music as well. So it's for me, it's not really driven by, and that's why I'm not as mainstream. I have mainstream material, and maybe it'll, chart and whatever. But I'm driven more by those principles as opposed to how fast I can make you take your clothes off because I made you hot and horny. That's great, but we have a lot of those artists out there, and they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
I like some of their stuff.
Yeah.
But we've got enough.
Yeah.
We need somebody who's maybe slightly different. And then people want to argue, is that going to sell? Is that marketable? Look, you can market anything if you really want to. You can market anything. In the right hands, right mind, you can market anything. If you say, no, well, you're not creative enough. I'm sorry. That's my humble opinion. That didn't sound very humble, but it's just, the most unmarketable people who've been so successful in life are the ones that were deemed not marketable. I know this.
Yeah.
And we've all seen this. And to have any lasting legacy, you have to make some impact, but you don't do it to make impact. You only make an impact anywhere if what you're doing or sharing is true. Really true. That's when it resonates with anyone. And that's how you make an impact. That's how you build a legacy.
That was profound. She's, oh, you're cute. Well, I'm really glad we got to have this conversation. Is there one last word you want to send out to the people listening to Communication Diva?
Ooh, it's Communication Diva. Just keep spreading the love. Well, not quite in the way I know you all thought it, because I thought it too. But just keep sharing love in ways you know best and how, and stay positive. Just no matter what's going on in this world, there's a lot of tragic events that are happening and continue to happen, because life is not fair and life is tough. But keep doing what you're doing. Stay positive, stay strong. You will get through whatever you're going through right now. And just know that all of us, artists and not artists alike, are, there are some of us who are really trying to work towards a greater future, with a greater purpose in mind. So know that I love you. And that's basically all I want to say right now. Hope you enjoy the music.
Thank you so much, Gina.
You're so welcome.
So if you want to learn more about Gina, please head over to communicationdiva.com, and I will post links to her website and pictures and music clips and all sorts of things. So please do come and check that out. And so the music that you've been hearing in the background is You Are Not Alone by Gina Williams. And this is Jen Swanson. Thank you so much once again for listening.